So let's talk about stress. How many of you feel like you are stressed? Why? What do you have to be stressed about? You're just kids, right? You shouldn't be stressed. There isn't anything in your life that could stress you out. Your life is just all about fun, right? So I wish I could have any adult who says, just wait till you're adult, then you'll know what stress is. Come and spend a few days as a counselor in our school or in any school in the country.
The things that worry me, school grades. I'm going to be driving soon, so I guess driving on the road with other people who are drunk, possibly.
What causes drama is that when you go out with a boy, you always know that somebody likes that boy.
Some of the stress I feel in my life is maybe comes from school or my parents. I get into a few arguments with my parents.
School is pretty stressful, tests and quizzes and homework and studying and all this and all that.
Mainly, I worry about my grades. I don't really like having bad grades. Like if I get a C or a D, that really upsets me.
They come up to you and say, "Oh, you have my man. Oh, you have my girl. We're going to fight over this. I'm going to start saying all this about you."
What's hard about high school is, eighth grade, they're kind of just easy on you, and then you go into ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and they get harder on you, and they're getting harder on you because you need to go to college.
There's definitely some pressure and stress in my life with trying to balance so many different activities and the academics and everything.
Senior year, I'm in a giant pool of stress because I have to figure out everything that's going to happen next year, moving on in my life, and kind of sometimes I just need.
So trust me, I'm trained to recognize the symptoms of stress, right, as a counselor. There are many of you out there who are way too stressed out and have been way too stressed out for way too long. So let's talk about the word stress and what it really is. What is stress and what causes stress?
Watch this. One little piece of paper can have a remarkable effect. Stress is stressful. But if you understand a bit about what it is, you'll be better able to deal with it. First, though, take a few deep breaths. In fact, do that anytime you feel stressed. It helps. Stress is a survival mechanism. When danger appears, it can get you out of trouble quickly. Your body crashes up the gears and throws all its resources into getting you moving. Your heart pumps furiously to increase blood pressure, glucose is sent to the muscles as a fuel injection, and you become totally focused on what psychologists call fight or flight. Thing is, this emergency state is only meant to last just long enough to get you out of danger. But here in the 21st century, we stress about different things, and for much, much longer. Your brain and body stay on red alert, and you'll be less able to think clearly, learn, or remember things. Take a few more deep breaths, because as you now know, stress is a physical reaction, and deep breathing helps to counteract its effects.
So stress is a response to pressure or threat. And under stress, we feel tense or nervous or on edge. And the stress response is physical, really. Stress triggers hormones like adrenaline and other hormones that affect our nervous system. When we get nervous and stressed, we feel our heart beating faster, we breathe faster, our palms get sweaty, knees get shaky, and amazingly enough, our brain turns off too. So when we're stressed for a reason, for an academic reason, we actually aren't thinking as well as we should. So we really need to find a way to deal with stress. There's different degrees of stress. There's stress and then there's stress. And so we have everyday stress and then we have lasting and serious stress. Everyday stress are things that happen to us all the time, like maybe, there's problems with parents or our friends, even though they're part of our life and we love them, they can be stressful. Things like, upcoming games or performances or anything like that, tests or exams, even something good like getting your driver's license can cause stress. And then there's always like drama stress that is in our life. All of those things can make us feel nervous and upset or a little bit overwhelmed. And the more practice we get at handling these everyday challenges, the better we get at dealing with challenges in general. The better we are at dealing, the less stressed we feel next time something like that comes up. It's like learning to ride a bike as a kid. Bumps in the road can look pretty scary when you're wobbly and you first start out, but the more bumps we take, the more confident we become, and before we know it, we're balanced and in control. And that's kind of like in our lives too. Every time we hit one of those everyday stresses, we get better at dealing with it, we hope. Beyond everyday stress, there are things that come up that make our life difficult. There are some that are pretty challenging that don't happen every day, like uh, moving or divorce or a painful breakup or a death of someone we love, difficult emotions or family conflict. These things can cause stress that takes time to resolve. And it might feel like these things will never go away, but the coping skills that you've built dealing with the little everyday stresses can help you deal with these bigger stresses or medium stresses that come up in your life. It can really help to learn more about how others have dealt with these stresses. So talk to people and talk to somebody you're close to, or get support or guidance to help you work it out or cope with or adapt with these things that happen. Sometimes though, stress can overwhelm our ability to cope. Maybe the stress is just too strong, or it lasts too long, or our coping skills aren't there. And when that happens, we call that serious or lasting stress or acute stress. And our bodies and brains were never built to handle that long-term acute stress. That could be things like abusive situations or bullying that leave a person in a constant state of fear or watchfulness. Situations where the pain just keeps coming, and living in these kind of situations can wear you down and wear down our stress response and put us in stress overload. Stress that causes people to lose their emotional balance and react in ways that are self abusive, like cutting or running away or abusing drugs or alcohol. And then there are stresses that come on us so suddenly or that builds up so much that we're just left feeling afraid and overwhelmed and depressed. And the results can be devastating. Suicide is the third leading cause of death of children ages 10 to 14 in our country. 4,800 succeed in taking their own lives every day. And in a study looking at 320 schools with students 13 to 17, almost half of them met the criteria for suffering one mental health issue like anxiety or depression or ADHD or PTSD or eating disorders. And so stress can be very, very serious. And when it builds up like that and it becomes so unmanageable, it's not always possible to see a clear way out or an answer. And in these cases, you need to get help dealing with whatever situation is creating that serious stress for you. This is when it's time to turn to a parent or a counselor or a therapist, a religious leader, a teacher, a coach, or someone else you trust to ask for help and to get help as soon as possible. This is a serious situation. This isn't something that you can deal with on your own. So if you have that serious acute stress, make sure you get some help. But what can we do for just kind of that everyday stress to help us keep it under control? Well, one thing we can do is we can make stress our friend.
Your heart might be pounding, you might be breathing faster, maybe breaking out into a sweat. And normally we interpret these physical changes as anxiety or signs that we aren't coping very well with the pressure. But what if you viewed them instead as signs that your body was energized, was preparing you to meet this challenge? Now, that is exactly what participants were told in a study conducted at Harvard University. Before they went through the social stress test, they were taught to rethink their stress response as helpful. That pounding heart is preparing you for action. If you're breathing faster, it's no problem. It's getting more oxygen to your brain. And participants who learned to view the stress response as helpful for their performance, well, they were less stressed out, less anxious, more confident. But the most fascinating finding to me was how their physical stress response changed. Now, in a typical stress response, your heart rate goes up and your blood vessels constrict like this. And this is one of the reasons that chronic stress is sometimes associated with cardiovascular disease. It's not really healthy to be in this state all the time. But in the study, when participants viewed their stress response as helpful, their blood vessels stayed relaxed like this. Their heart was still pounding, but this is a much healthier cardiovascular profile. It actually looks a lot like what happens in moments of joy and courage.
So stress can actually be our friend. Stress really is there to get us going. It boosts our adrenaline. It helps us perform at our best. Um, Stress is really just something saying, wake up. There's something you need to do or something that needs your attention. It reminds us to slow down, steady ourselves, focus, and get ready. And then we tackle whatever's stressing us. And once we get to work on finding a way to solve the problem, the pressure and the stress eases. Um, so really just being in charge and taking control and saying, okay, this is something I need to take care of, and then having the courage to step forward and take care of it really can help. Building some good coping skills is very helpful. You guys are so overscheduled. Oh my gosh. You need to prioritize. And if you're feeling stretched, consider cutting out something or choosing just the ones that are most important to you. Be realistic. Nobody is perfect. I promise, I've never met a perfect person. Don't try to be. Don't put pressure on yourself. If you need help with schoolwork or something, get some help. And a B is not the end of the world, you guys. That's a great grade, A B is not going to kill us. Um, the next one is be positive. Think positive. Be happy. Find the upside. Optimism can really help you make the best of stressful circumstances and even help you learn from those circumstances. Treat your body well. Your body and your brain needs exercise and good food. It does not need junk food. It does not need, crappy stuff to keep you going. You need good food and exercise, and you need to be outside and having fun. So make sure to take care of your body and your brain. It does not work well on lots of sugar and caffeine and energy drinks, I promise. Get a good night's sleep. This is the other thing. Your brain so needs a good night's sleep. Problem is, though, that as teenagers, your biological clock is shifting. And so you want to stay up later and you want to sleep later, but we all know that you have to get up early to come to school. So you need to make sure that you are getting a good amount of sleep. That's when your brain recharges and revives. And anybody who is tired, you know what you feel like. You feel grumpy and you cannot deal. Solve the little stuff first. You know what? If you're feeling overwhelmed, make sure that you are getting what you need to done. Make a list, check things off, and get that little stuff out of the way first. And that helps you work on the bigger stuff. And if you need to, take that big stuff and break it down into smaller pieces so it isn't so overwhelming. But it's amazing how just checking something off on a list will help you relax. Make time for friends and fun. Don't fill your life so full that you don't have time for fun. Part of the stress chemicals that our body gives out along with adrenaline is oxytocin, which is, they call it the chemical, but it actually wants us to find other people. Our body is telling us that, hey, when you are stressed, you need to be talking to your friends. You need to be with people you enjoy. And that actually helps us feel better. And our bodies and brains know that. And that's why it releases oxytocin. So make sure you're making time for friends and you're making time for fun. And then you need to learn to relax. We all say we know how to relax, and there are a million ways to relax, but you've got to practice relaxing. It's kind of like Kobe Bryant. I know he knows how to play basketball, but you would find that he still practices basketball. So you actually have to practice relaxing. And it's not something we do automatically. So there's tons of ways to relax. One of my favorite ways to relax is called mindfulness. Today we are going to try a mindfulness technique. It's really short, really fast, something you can do anywhere at any time. That's why I like it. Mindfulness is just a technique to pull your thoughts and your mind back from worry about the future or the past, and to be here in the present and aware of what is going on and what you're doing, and not being overwhelmed by what's going on around us. And if you like this activity, then do some research. There are tons of apps online. There's tons of research on mindfulness. Um, there's just type in relaxation breathing and you'll find a ton of things. We can also help you at the counseling office, so come in and we can give you some more resources. So students, this is called mindfulness mints. So I want everybody to clear off your desk. Teachers, if you could turn the lights down a little bit, and hand out mints to everyone. Students, do not eat the mints, just have them on your desk or on your lap or in your hand. And if you feel comfortable, students, I want you to close your eyes. Teachers, go ahead and stop this for just a minute so that you can get ready, and then when you're ready, come back and we can go forward on this exercise. Okay, so students, I want you to sit comfortably. If you feel comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes for the first part of this demonstration. Find a spot that gives you a stable, comfortable seat. Students, I want you to notice about your body. Notice what your legs are doing. If you're on a chair, rest the bottoms of your feet on the floor. Straighten your upper body, but don't stiffen. Your spine has a natural curve. Let it be there. Notice what your arms are doing. Situate your upper arms parallel to your upper body and rest the palms of your hands on your legs or wherever it feels most comfortable. Now, I want you to soften your gaze. Drop your chin a little. Let your gaze fall gently downward. It's not necessary to close your eyes, but you can if you want. You simply let whatever appears before your eyes be there without really focusing on it. And I want you to feel your breath. So bring your attention to the physical sensation of breathing. The air moving through your nose or your mouth. The rising and falling of your belly or your chest. I want you to go ahead and breathe in and breathe out in a way that's comfortable for you. And then if your mind is wandering from your breath, that's okay. Just bring it back and focus on the feeling of the air going in through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathe for just a minute. Now, I want you to pick up the mint. First, we're going to explore this little piece of food using as many senses as possible. I want you to look at the mint. Notice its texture. Notice its color. Now I want you to close your eyes, and we're going to explore this with your sense of touch and sense of hearing. I want you to feel the plastic on the outside of the mint. I want you to notice that on the edge of the mint, there's kind of a raw edge, and there are smooth edges on the mint. Find those raw edges and find the smooth edges. Now, on the back of the mint, there's a fold in the plastic. I want you to find the fold. While you're doing this, I want you to hear the crinkling of the plastic. Go ahead and push it together and pull it tight. Notice that you're not being asked to think, but just to notice different aspects of your experience, using one sense at a time. Now I want you to feel the hard mint in the middle. There should be an opening in the middle of the mint. Please find that with your fingers. Trace your fingers around the circle of the outside of the mint. Now, I want you to open the mint in any way that you can. Don't take the mint out, but I want you to pull the plastic apart. You can rip it or you can tear it. You can pull it through the middle. How did you get that open? And now I want you to pull that up to your nose and smell the mint. What kind of mint is it? Is it spearmint? Is it peppermint? Okay, now I want you to just touch the edge of the mint to your tongue. Quickly touch it and take it away. How did that taste? What was the texture that you feel in your mouth? Now, I want you to put the mint slowly in your mouth, setting it on your tongue, noticing the actual experience of tasting, noticing that mint smell going up through the back of your nose. Now I want you to move it around your mouth with your tongue. On one edge, it will say Lifesavers. Can you find the edge, the side of the mint that says Lifesavers with your tongue? Can you find the smooth side? Okay, now put it in your cheek and then swallow and feel the cool of the mint going down the back of your throat. Take a deep breath. Pull that mint smell up into the back of your nose. Can you feel that coolness in the back of your nose? Now, take just a few seconds and breathe. Now I want you to bite the mint and break the mint. Did the mint split into 1 or 2 or 3 pieces? How many pieces are in your mouth? Take a deep breath. Now go ahead and chew one piece of the mint, noticing the texture and the way that it feels in your mouth, and listening through the sound through your head. Take a deep breath. If your eyes are closed, you can open them. If you've just been gently looking, you can lift your gaze. Take a moment. Notice any sounds in the environment. Notice the hum of the lights. Do you hear the clock ticking? Do you hear the person next to you breathing? Now I want you to notice how your body feels right now. Let's go again to the top of your head, to your shoulders. Pull your shoulders back and forward, up and down. Straighten your body again. Remember, don't stiffen. Let it be there. Notice your arms. Sit up straight. Pull your chin up. Take a deep breath and look forward. So we've just really quickly done a mindfulness exercise. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit more grounded, a little bit less stressed, I hope. But don't feel like if that's not how you're feeling, that's bad, because remember, this is a practice. The great thing about this is you can use it with anything, with gum, with mints, anything. When you need a 1 or 2 minute just time to relax, if you don't have that, you can just breathe. Breathing in and out for 3 minutes can reactivate your brain and send calming chemicals through your body. So if you thought that was good, then you're welcome to come down to the counseling office. We have some other things, other exercises like that. But remember that stress is good if you use it right and if you learn to control your stress instead of letting your stress control you. Now for the one last bit of advice I have, and great coping skills. It's very, very important to laugh, and laugh a lot. Laughter is really the best medicine. And I love to laugh, and it's a great stress reliever. So this is for you, Uenta, and I hope you have a great and less stressful day.
Off you go. Back to number one.
Hello.
I love a man with an effervescent personality. I like a man who likes to party and get his groove on. What's your favorite dance and why?
My favorite dance is the samba, and I could take you to do the samba in beautiful Puerto Vallarta. That's right, you and I will stay for 2 nights and 2 dazzling days in Puerto Vallarta, courtesy of the Shiftwood Inn. Shiftwood Inn, the best place to stay in Puerto Vallarta. Woo! Retail value of this package, $2,562. Back to you, gorgeous.
Oh, you make me want to pick door number 2. One for me and one for you. Woo! That's number 2. Lately, I find myself quite lonely. I normally take walks in the park. Where do you like to go when you need some solitude?
Well, I don't go anywhere where you can find a big book.
So glad to know you, number 2. So glad to know you. Number 3, I love classical music. I love classical music because it helps me be me. What do you enjoy doing that lets you be you?
Could you repeat the question? Could you back up? Back up! Back up! Back up! Back up!
I'll come back to you, number 3.